friends. We learned about Georgia O'Keeffe today during Circle, and now we're going to paint in the style of Georgia O'Keeffe. So you'll need to gather your things, probably some paints. I have this BioColor, but I also have watercolor, and I'm going to mix it up a little bit using two different types. But you can also, if you want to use Cray-Pas and paint, it's up to you. You can think about what kind of materials you want to use, and you'll need paper and water for your brushes and probably a paper towel. And if you have a magnifying glass, remember how Georgia liked to look at things very closely so that the people who looked at her paintings would see them in the same way that she did, up close. And you can see I'm outside because Georgia liked to paint outside, and maybe you can try painting outside too. So I also have my subject, my still life of what I want to paint. I've decided to paint these yellow flowers, but I did some other paintings before using some other subjects. So this is from a plant. It's not a flower, it's just a leaf. And I used Cray-Pas to paint, to draw those leaves. And then I used my watercolor paints over the Cray-Pas. So I looked very closely through my magnifying glass, but you don't have to use one if you don't want. You can just look closely at what you want to paint and then paint it really big. Is this the same size as this? No. And look at, I couldn't even get it on the page. I was looking that closely and drawing that big. So that's a leaf, but I also painted something else from nature, just like Georgia would. So this, it's a beautiful shell that I have at home, and I decided to paint it in watercolor. I looked really close, not through my magnifying glass, just by looking really close to capture all those details. And there's my painting. So let's get started on this yellow flower here. It's a begonia. Oops. And I want you to be able to see what I'm gonna paint. So I've got my magnifying glass. I've got a few different paint brushes here, and I have a little palette because I'm gonna use mostly yellow, and I want to use some yellow. Look at that. Oh gosh. I'm going to use some yellow straight from here, but I'm also going to add some other colors to that yellow to capture all the details of those beautiful petals in the begonia. Oops. A little bit too much yellow, green. And I'm just mixing it up. Because if you look closely, it's not all one color. It's different shades of yellow. And they all kind of swirl around the center of the bud, which is in the very middle. I'm going to add a little orange too, because sometimes I see in the center there's another little bit of different shades of that yellow. And look, oh my gosh, it's even coming off the paper, just like Georgia painted so big that she couldn't even capture it on her whole canvas. just swirling my petals around. And do you see how they're smaller in the middle and they get bigger as they go out? So my brush strokes are much broader and larger as I go out. So that's what I'm going to do for now. And I also want to add a little bit of green and maybe, what else in the background? Maybe a little different shades of green. I might add a little black to that green. And it's just coming off the page. So that's my Georgia O'Keeffe inspired artwork. I hope you have fun selecting something to paint and then painting it really big so it's just coming off of that page so that other people can see how you see it up close. Have fun with that, friends.